A romance that was never meant to be. That's what you could title this episode of Space Dandy Season 2. Romance. Romance is a topic in Space Dandy that really hasn't been covered a lot, because usually when there is a romance episode of Space Dandy, and it's very few and far in between, I think there was only one episode in the first season, it was a really good episode. And it's really shocking, because you'd think the concept of romance would be, expressed more in Space Dandy, since this series does a lot of, jokes and comedy along with it. Now, this episode takes a very mature theme and look at the romance between Scarlet and Dandy in this episode. For the most part, everything seems rather cliche in this episode. I mean, there's some really good comedy moments, and you'll definitely laugh your ass off while watching this episode, but if you're looking for something unique to the romance genre, you most likely will be disappointed after watching this episode. Mainly, what is really good about this episode is getting to see Scarlet open up as a character, because Scarlet, as we know, is a desk worker that Dandy always takes his aliens to get registered to, and she always shoots him down, turns him down, says that he's useless, he needs to get another job, so forth, so on. And so, getting to see her personality open up, getting to see more of her character, and getting to see how she truly acts when she's not always just working at a desk, was a really good, enlightening part about her character. That's the big thing I loved about this episode, is finding out more about her character's personality. Dandy, on the other end, in this episode, he constantly is trying to do work. For instance, catching unregistered aliens. Finally, for once, Dandy is actually catching aliens that are not registered while he's on a date with Scarlet. Now, speaking of the date with Scarlet, I laughed so hard because, you had a contract between Scarlet and Dandy of how, they had to fake as a romance couple. Right off the bat, since I know I've seen this cliche a lot before, I knew Dandy and Scarlet most likely would have some form of feelings or romance towards each other by the course of the end of this episode. I knew for a fact because I've seen this a lot in TV shows, movies, anime, and manga. I've seen it a lot. But, the big thing is at the end of this episode, it does a different take on the entire romance. It leaves us a bittersweet ending showing that Scarlet and Dandy were never meant to be as a couple. They go their own separate paths, and the entire symbolism in that scene, and the way the meaning behind the scene really, it's impactful. It definitely is an impactful scene, and I think it was executed properly along with the animation and the music, and the art style looked really good in this episode. And so, I feel like, even though the romance was never meant to be, you could tell that they care for each other a lot more. Their bond has grown stronger at the end of this episode. And so, Space Dandy Season 2, once again, surprises me with another great episode that actually gives us, once again, great character development for other characters, like, for instance, Scarlet. And so, personally, I enjoyed this episode. It was a great episode. I enjoyed it from start to finish. Tell me your thoughts about this episode of Space Dandy. What was your favorite moment? And personally, everybody, do you feel like the next episode is going to be even better, since supposedly Dandy is going to be, talking with his ex from 10 years ago? Let me know in the comments below. I love all of you so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.